Is a powerful and beautiful way to express ourselves, and that's precisely what Bronx poet Peggy Robles Alvarado has been doing for many years. Inspired by her daughter, her family, her neighborhood, her Bronx community, she has performed at the city's most popular open mic cafes. Today she's here to talk to us about her new book, Conversations with My Skin. Peggy Robles Alvarado, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us about your poetry. When did it begin for you? When did you realize you wanted to be a poet?
Well, I never really realized I wanted to be a poet. It started.
Not even now?
Now I can comfortably call myself a poet.
Okay.
But it started for me when I was a student at Hunter College. And in an assignment, they asked us to perform something about your culture, your identity, and I decided to do it in a poem. And it's interesting because that same poem was now recently published on the Centro for Puerto Rican Studies online publication at Hunter, and it's been ages.
How long ago was that?
That was in '98.
And what was the name of the poem?
Despite It All. So.
And what was that about?
That was about it was more geared towards the Puerto Rican population that does not speak Spanish. And it basically says that despite it all, I remain Puerto Rican. And it talks about identity and how, despite some members of our population, Puerto Rican population, don't speak Spanish, they still identify very much with being Puerto Rican. So that was the first instance with poetry, and I fell in love with it then. But I never really engaged in poetry until later, when I had to heal from a very abusive relationship, where I became a mother at 15. And I was part of a relationship that was extremely negative. And I realized that writing is healing. So I just started writing my emotions down. I really
just to yourself, mostly.
Yes. And I realized once my daughter turned 18, I wanted to really give her something and show her that despite the fact that I was a young mother and I may have made mistakes, that I have nothing but love for her. So I compiled all these poems into the book, which is Conversations with My Skin, and realized that that part of my life is over.
Okay, but my understanding is that you've been performing poetry for a few years
Yes.
now. So it wasn't until your daughter turned 18.
No.
You were already involved in poetry.
Yes.
Tell me about that. I mean, you
Well,
performed.
that was different. That wasn't part of the book. That was more of me testing out the waters.
Okay.
And I would go to these open mics at first and see, okay, well, let me try it out. And I did try out the first poem, and people loved it. The response was great.
The same poem that you
Yes.
submitted, okay?
So then I started trying out different poems about identity and sensuality and sexuality and abuse. But abuse became the recurrent topic. And as I said before, poetry is healing. So once that all came out, I said, well, what do I do with this now? And I realized that my story wasn't just about me, because I've gotten a great response from other women and young women that say, you know, this is my story that you wrote in poetic form. And thank you for sharing that. And many people have told me, well, now I want to write my story, which is wonderful, because that's what I believe good literature should do. It should encourage other people to write their story.
Well, you mentioned your book, and I think I should show it to the folks watching at home. Conversations with My Skin. It's got a beautiful cover. Is this you?
That is me.
It's got a beautiful cover, and we'll show this close up. So when did you complete this book? And it was all these pieces of writing that you had done, and you compiled it all together.
Correct. I just realized, you know, I really have a book, and I didn't set out to write the book. I didn't set out with the goal of making a book. It just kind of, all these healing poems kept coming out, and I put them all together. I designed everything. I had certain people help me with the layout. Justin, the Omnitech, who is wonderful, and Pepper Negron took the photograph. But I designed everything because I really wanted it to be mine.
Okay, and what's in this book?
In this book is the story from beginning to end of how I started off in this abusive relationship, became a mother at 15, my thoughts throughout the entire process.
And told through your poetry.
Told through poetry and different types of poems. And at the end, it's called, the last piece is called Head High, and it's how I feel now, which is no matter what, my head is always high. I will always carry my head high. And
all of the poems that are in here are poems that you have already shared when you go to these cafes and try them out, or are they totally new to people?
No, the only ones that have been read in cafes, because it's not only cafes, I've also performed at the Bronx Museum of Art, Hunter College, Bronx Community College as part of the Latina. Anything that has to do with Latinas, I'm usually invited to, which is a wonderful thing. But the only ones that I perform there are usually Conversations with My Skin, which is the title piece. And I have another one, Baby Mama T-shirts.
Baby Mama T-shirts.
Yes.
What? Explain.
It's inspired by someone. It was a gentleman who, he posted, back in the day when MySpace was the big thing, right? He posted up this, he made this logo for a t-shirt that said Baby Mamas Wanted. And he was very proud of it, and he explained how he wants to have children with many women and he doesn't need to be present because the child needs his mother. And it did something to me. It reacted something in me, because as a single parent for so many years, I am no longer a single parent, but I'm happy to say that, you know, as a single parent, it struck a chord in me, because I'm one of those baby mamas who, you know, this guy's talking about designing a t-shirt for and promoting it to other young men. So I wrote this piece, and that one strikes a chord in certain
It was like a protest piece.
Yes, it is. And there's very explicit lines that people may find, some people may say they're vulgar, but they're not vulgar, they just kind of twitch at people's nerves. Like I said that his t-shirts, they make little girls replace blow pops with blow too soon. So it strikes a nerve in people, and it makes them think about why little girls are doing certain things and why young men feel the need to leave their children behind.
So let's go back to these cafes or all your performances. When you do this, and you do this at an open mic kind of cafe, how do you get over that first initial fear of facing an audience and not knowing how they're going to react to your writing?
Well,
because I mean, I publish my writing, but I don't see when people are reading it. You have them right in front of you.
I see them. Yeah, it can be nerve-wracking, but I believe very strongly that my message is important. It's valid. So when I grasp onto that, I lose my nerves. I lose all that nervousness and what are they going to think? Because all of that is doubt, and doubt is a dream killer. So I refuse to let doubt come in.
Okay.
So I trust that my words have enough power to make people stop. And if I go up there with the this whole aura of I don't know how they're going to react, people feel that. So right away, that's a turnoff. So I try to hype myself up, and I always say doubt is a dream killer, and it's not present here. So I believe that each piece can stand on its own. Even though it's a part of a collection, each piece can stand on its own.
I understand that there's one particular piece here that my producer wanted you to read. It's called Daddy.
Daddy.
Please tell me about Daddy first and then read it to us.
Yes. Daddy is, as a single mother, as I said, my daughter always had questions about this daddy person. And she drew pictures about this daddy person. And
Daddy wasn't there.
Daddy was not
possible.
It wasn't possible for him to be there. He was sick in many ways. So it really wasn't possible for him to be present in her life. And I didn't know what to say when she was little. Later, when she turned 16, 17, 18, then we could have conversations. But I couldn't do that when she was a child. So Daddy are the questions that I saw and heard on a daily basis from her.
When he was not around.
When he was not around.
Please.
Daddy. Staring at the mirror, examining these foreign features, investigating the slight indent on the bridge of my nose, I regress and ask the unanswered questions. What did you like to wear? Did you comb your hair? Did you wear ties? What kind of cars did you drive? Did you ever think of me? Mommy's touch was so different, soft, present, guilt-ridden, yet forgiving. She never spoke of you, never good nor bad, just didn't. You were dismissed, hidden like some irreparable scar that she couldn't remove, an ugly bruise that grew right below the surface, and I wanted to know, but it would wound her, so I never asked. Didn't ask if your hands were rough. Why wasn't I enough? Did you have a deep voice? If you could, would you make the same choice? Did you ever think of me? I want to hate you, mean all the evil things I say as I fall asleep, forget you, let you dissipate like smoke, let you dry like the desert in the well of my heart, let you answer my question, did you ever think of me? Cut you off in the middle of a sentence, walk away and let you hold your breath all these years, reproducing the same tears that burn through Mommy's smiling mask. Staring at the mirror, examining these foreign features, counting the beauty marks and freckles, I regress and ask these unanswered questions. What was your shoe size? Did you ever cry? Was your complexion like mine? Why couldn't you make time? Did you ever think of me? I want to believe that your presence is unnecessary, that the mystery of your touch is better left unresolved, that the smell of your cologne, the sense of your skin is senseless, has no effect on me. I want to think that I can sport a sinister grin the day you want to repent. Tie a boomerang to your apologies and have them bounce right back. Just when you think you are forgiven, let you answer my question, did you ever think of me? Cut your explanation short, have it fall to its knees and gut it clean, so that the world can see what you're truly made of. But the day you answer my question, I cannot say what I'll do. My heart betrays me at times as I try to harden its exterior. Part of it still beats for Daddy, waiting for the day he speaks, wondering, did you ever think of me?
Absolutely beautiful.
Thank
I'm
you.
very impressed. It's
Thank
absolutely
you.
beautiful. And I can, while you were reading that, I was thinking of all the children who have grown up without a father and how they can identify with that. It's absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
Tied to a, what was it? Tied to a boomerang, your apologies tied to a boomerang?
Yes.
Is that what you said?
Yes.
That was beautiful. That was, whoa, I actually wrote it down. It was stupendous. Where can we are out of time. I'm
No,
sorry. You
that's
should come
fine.
back for more. Really, another time you should come back on the show and recite more of your poetry. But tell us, how do people get a hold of you, and how do we buy your book? Where do we find it?
Well, you can find my book on Amazon.com.
Great.
And you can contact me at robleswrites@gmail.com. And basically, you can contact me anytime. I take emails all the time from especially young people.
Okay.
I particularly enjoy